What's going on YouTube? So when it comes to large and opulent transportation, it really doesn't get any better than the Cadillac Escalade, especially when you have the extended length ESV version. Just fully redesigned last year, this next generation Escalade is really bringing the heat with both luxury and technology. Plus, there are a few updates this year. But without wasting any time, let's go ahead and get straight into this review. So let's kick things off here by talking about the exterior design. Now, of course, it was just fully redesigned last year, so it's not going to change in terms of the overall looks. And it does have that signature Escalade design with this next generation model, which is bold and in your face no matter which trim level you choose. So your luxury and your premium luxury trim levels are going to have this grille you see here today. It's got the satin chrome outline and then the silver kind of mesh finish in the inside. It looks very nice, but there are also two other finishes you can get. If you choose the sport model, it's gonna black it all out and have that really sporty design to it. And then if you choose the premium luxury platinum model, that one's gonna come with chrome bars for even more bling if this isn't enough for you already. Now coming over here to your headlights, this is one of the big changes for this new generation. You have a kind of cylinder design. Obviously, it is going to be full LED across every single model. You have the crystals and a lot of really beautiful details inside of here, including the Cadillac logo. And then as we drop down, you have this signature blade design. This serves as your daytime running light as well as your turn signal indicator, but it is not a fog light. Now next up, we have our different wheel options. And for this Escalade, you do have standard 22-inch alloys across the entire range. Obviously, you're going to have different designs depending on the trim level. This is your more basic design. It does come standard with your luxury and premium luxury trim levels. Just kind of a more basic silver trim, and then it has the covered wheel cap right here in the middle. You obviously can get the blacked out alloys if you choose the sport model. And then as I come up here to your mirrors, you do have the nice two-tone finish with the gloss black on the bottom, body color in the top, LED turn signal indicators, and of course, these are going to come loaded with all the features you expect. So you do have power folding, heating, driver side auto dimming, and then blind spot monitoring if you choose the premium luxury or above. New for 2022, the Cadillac emblem projector that comes down onto the ground, that's going to be included on the platinum trim.
Now the side of the Escalade ESV is something else. I have to say, just looking at it here in person, this is a big car. So you're looking at 227 inches in length for the ESV version of the Escalade, which is just a hair under 19 feet long. So you might want to check and make sure it fits in your garage. That would maybe be something you should look at checking before you buy the ESV version. The regular one is still going to be long. It's just a little bit over 211 inches in length. But overall, it's very big. It also has that signature Escalade design element of being very square and boxy. I also want to point out that the air suspension does have expanded availability this year through the touring package, so it's not just on the platinum models, and that would give you the availability to raise and lower your air suspension. We just have the optional magnetic dampers on this model. Now coming around to the rear design itself, for 2022, the Escalade hasn't really changed much. In terms of design, of course, this was all new last year, and I don't think they needed to change anything. This is a very gorgeous design. As you can see, it has that tough Escalade design that we've grown accustomed to. We have this chrome piece right through the middle. We have our big Cadillac emblem right here. And then looking at our taillights, these are going to be your signature vertical taillights. They are going to be full LED, and I want you to kind of look inside of these taillights. They have done a lot of work here with the etching to make these look absolutely beautiful. It has a very luxurious vibe. I also want to point out it has animation abilities, so when you walk up to the vehicle, it does go ahead and have some flowing lines through there to give you an extra bougie touch. We have our 600 badge, and then coming down to the lower area, you will notice that on this premium luxury, we have all this chrome trim. Of course, if you go for the sport, that would black stuff out. And then you're going to have dual exposed exhaust outlets that are fully integrated into the bumper, as well as an 8,200 pound tow rating on every single Escalade. Now it's time to talk about the safety systems as well as your warranty for the Escalade. Now we'll start out with the warranty. We have a 4-year 50,000 mile basic warranty, a 6-year 70,000 mile powertrain warranty. You're also going to get your first maintenance visit covered complimentary by Cadillac. And then as far as your safety systems, we do have some updates for 2022. You're going to now have standard lane keeping assist in addition to the forward emergency braking as well as the auto high beam headlamps. Now additionally, if you go for that fully loaded Platinum model, you will have standard Super Cruise, or you can option it on to the other trim levels like what we have here, and that is going to be a $2,500 option. Well, the design of the Escalade is big and in your face, and I love the design. But now let's go ahead and check out the interior, where I know they put a ton of luxury before we take it out in a spin and talk about the pricing.
So walking up to the Escalade, of course you are going to have a standard smart entry system, and here is the brand's typical key fob, which does include remote start. And then it does have the electronic door handle as well, so you just push the pad behind the handle and it will open the door up. I'm going to go ahead and get inside here so it'll be nice and quiet. You do have the standard running boards. You can get power ones on higher end models. And there's that gorgeous start up sequence there. So like always, let's get things started inside this cabin with your different interior material and color options. Of course, there are going to be quite a few since this is the flagship Cadillac. So your luxury model, the base model, is going to come standard with leatherette seating. However, the premium luxury and the sport model come with the Milan leather that you see here with the premium look and the really nice color contrast piping that runs down the sides. Of course, you can continue to upgrade to the Platinum model. That's going to get you the beautiful semi-aniline leather with that really unique quilted pattern. And as far as the color options for this premium luxury itself, you're going to have the choice between black, parchment, which I'm showing off today, and brandy. Now, as far as the seats themselves, the adjustment, you're going to have 12-way power adjustment as standard equipment. This specific model actually does not have 4-way lumbar support. That's a chip shortage issue, so you do receive a $50 credit to go to 2-way lumbar support. And then the Platinum models, those are going to have 16-way power adjusting seats with massage. Coming up here to the door trim and taking a look at the materials, obviously you're going to have fine materials no matter which model you choose. So you have leather that's covering pretty much the entire door trim, including the really nice color contrast piping that runs through there. You have the high gloss wood, a leatherette area up across the top with the color contrast stitching, and leather all through here as well. And then taking a look over here, you do have the seat climate controls located on the door trim itself, so that you're going to have the 3-stage heating and ventilation with the separate back and butt controls for the heating. And then as far as the windows, of course, all 4 of them will be one-touch automatic. And let's take a look around at the broader materials throughout the cabin. Of course, like I said, very premium touches, so you're going to have a full leather dashboard. You can get a more premium grade of leather if you choose the Platinum model across the top. We actually have stitching details and leather that runs around the displays, which I think is a really cool touch. Of course, all through the middle, you're going to have this beautiful piece of wood that just travels seamlessly through there. More leatherette material that runs through here, more wood, more leather. As you can see, really nice materials absolutely everywhere, and the build quality is going to be very nice as well. Now start it up, put your foot on the brake, and press the standard button. And right as soon as you start it up, you're gonna notice that this is not your typical gauge cluster. It certainly looks very different, and it's all part of this, the 38-inch curved OLED display system here. Absolutely a beautiful display here, and it's made up of basically 3 different displays, but it has the effect of being one continuous one. The gauge cluster itself is 14.2 inches. This display off to the side, which controls some of your things related to, you know, more basic functions like your trip computer and stuff like that. It also can change the design of the gauges. This is 7 inches. And right now we're in the augmented reality camera system. So you just have this live stream straight out of the front of your vehicle, basically. Really crisp and vivid looking. I can't emphasize that enough. This is really a beautiful looking camera display. And you can also get the augmented reality navigation system, which will overlay the instructions inside of this display itself. So this is very high tech. I'll switch into the map mode and show you guys what that's going to look like. Here is what the traditional gauges look like if you prefer that more classic design. Of course, up here at the top, you're also going to find a head-up display as well. But coming back here to the steering wheel, you have that typical Cadillac design. Obviously, it is going to be fully leather wrapped. You would also have the leather wrapped airbag cover if you choose the platinum grade. And if you're wondering what this is right here, as well as this across the top, these are both related to your Super Cruise system, which is available on the Escalade. This model does have that, and basically it's going to be monitoring it to make sure you're paying attention while it is activated. Now, as far as the steering wheel itself, it is going to be power adjusting, tilt and telescoping, and then you do have standard steering wheel heating as well. Off to the side over here is going to be your 4-wheel drive controls, your drive modes. We also have the trailer brake controller as well as our electronic parking brake. But let's go ahead and talk about interior storage, because this is the ESV Escalade. So obviously, if you're buying one of these, you need a lot of storage. So underneath our center console here, I'll open that up. You'll be greeted with this little shelf. You can pull this off to the side. Actually, it's pretty deep. This part is pretty deep. But here is the broader console. As you can see, really nice and large. It goes down quite a ways. Luxurious felt lining on all of the sides. You can substitute in a cool box if you prefer to kind of use this as a little bit of a mini fridge. And furthermore, you do have your 2 USB connections. One of them is a Type-C. But you don't have to do it. Doesn't matter that this costs nearly $100,000. You know, you gotta save money if you wanna own a car like this someday. And that's how those coupons fit in there, just fine. Now up in front of that, if we slide that open, you're gonna notice your 2 cup holders with the stainless steel trim in the bottom. You have a little storage area right here, 2 more USB connections. We do have a slot where you can slide your phone in. I do believe this is a wireless phone charging pad as well. And then down here along the side, another nice felt lined storage area where you can just stick some small loose objects. And next up here, we have our shifter. Unlike the Tahoe as well as the Yukon, you don't have the push button style shifter. You have this more traditional style electronic shifter. It's probably a little bit easier to use. You pull back for drive. You can also shift manually with these paddle shifters on the steering wheel if you choose to do that. And then going into reverse, of course, you are going to be greeted with a standard 360-degree camera system. So that's what that's going to look like. However, you do have some additional functions, as you probably would expect. You can switch into some different views here. And we can also click on this button right here. And this is going to allow us to, you know, take this kind of 360-degree drone-like view perspective around the vehicle and see all of the surroundings. And of course, the graphics on this look quite nice. Then for park, you're just gonna press the P right on the top. Like I already mentioned, you do have your electronic parking brake. And in front of that, we have our auto brake hold as well as our auto start stop button to feet. As you pull back behind that, you're gonna be greeted with your Cadillac controller. It is a touch display, but if you want to not get any fingerprints on it, you can use this nice metal controller if you prefer that. And then right in front of that is going to be your audio knob. So with this model, you're gonna have a standard AKG sound system no matter what. It's gonna be 19 speakers for this trim level we have today. The Platinum model would have the 36 speaker reference AKG sound system. So that one's absolutely insane, but this one here, of course, has 19 speakers, so that is still quite nice, and we'll go ahead and give it a sample right now. Yeah, so overall, this bass sound system still sounds absolutely fantastic. Really fills up this large cabin super well, as you expect, since you do have speakers up there on the ceiling as well as in the headrest still. Okay, so as we move on, we're going to come to our climate controls next. This is going to be a standard 3-zone automatic climate control setup. And one of the things I really love about this new generation of the Escalade is that it, kind of has a analog approach almost. You have these beautiful high quality buttons to push, so they haven't gone to all these touch sensors and stuff like some of the competition has, and you just adjust the temperature with these really nice knobs. As you can see, you have the real good rolling effect there. You can adjust your zones. Everything is located very conveniently right there. And then we have our main infotainment system. So this is where a lot of the stuff is going to live. Again, part of the 38-inch curved display, so it looks really nice, and it's definitely facing towards the driver, so you have super clear visibility. This specifically is going to be 16.9 inches in this section, and just like I said in the past Escalade review, the graphics on this are absolutely stunning. You probably can't tell too well through the camera here, but the OLED makes everything just pop. It looks like it's almost three-dimensional. It comes off of the display here. Right now I'm in the wireless Android Auto, and wireless Apple CarPlay is of course available as well. That's what that's going to look like. And then if I click the home display, this is going to take me to the main infotainment system. It does look a little bit different than in the other Cadillac models in terms of your design. So on the home display, you've got these tiles. You also have the shortcuts along the side, and then you can swipe over to your broader applications. Once again, performance on this really top notch. Here's the built-in navigation system. Again, pinch to zoom. You can also tilt. Just really nice performance and just stunning graphics. Some of the best you can get in the entire auto industry. Now, as I rise above to the mirror, of course, you do have the frameless auto-dimming design, and you have HomeLink universal remotes on the ceiling, but flip that switch there and you do have the rear camera mirror system. That's going to cut out all the back obstructions, and is something that is really appreciated in something quite this large, because that's a long way back there. Obviously you got full LED lighting. There's the HomeLink remotes I was mentioning earlier, and so long as you choose all but the base model, it's going to throw in this large panoramic sunroof.
All right, guys, we're in the Escalade's rear seat, and I have to say, sitting back here, I kind of feel like a rapper or some type of rock star, because that's really just what you feel like if you're in the back of an Escalade. It has that really cool vibe to it, and you're also going to have a lot of space, which is, of course, very nice to have. So we're going to have 41.7 inches of legroom, 38.9 inches of headroom. In terms of how that is behind Drew's seating position, I'm 5'9", Drew's 5'8". I'm looking at probably 7.5 inches of rear legroom, and my feet can easily slide up underneath the seat. So you're going to have a lot of space. I do also want to point out that you can slide the seat forward and back. That does have quite a good range of motion, and you can also recline the seat back as well quite a lot. Now, if you're interested in how that compares to its rivals, that is larger than the Lincoln Navigator, and it's going to be one of the largest ones in the segment. And of course, you're probably noticing that we do have captain's chairs. Those are going to be standard equipment on every single Escalade model. Now, you can also get bench seating if you happen to need all of those extra seats, because this is a big vehicle after all, so you probably have a big family. Now, let's turn our attention towards this area right here in the middle. Now, since this is a Escalade after all, we do have some nice leather wrapping all the way around the entire area. It gives it a really nice premium feel. Then if we adjust some of our climate controls back here, you will notice that we do have standard 3-zone climate control. So you have all of your different zones right here. You can adjust your temperature with these nice knobs right here. Off to the side of that, we do have standard 3-stage heated seats. It's going to be on every single Escalade model. It is worth noting, though, that ventilation is not offered on the Escalade. Then if we come back, you will notice that we have cup holders inside. They're quite nice. They do pop out like that. And then down below that, we're going to have all of your connections. So we do have 2 USB Type-C ports. Then we're also going to have a household style outlet. Now, it would be worth noting that you would have an HDMI port and all of that if you opted for the rear seat entertainment system, which has dual 12.6-inch displays. Now, in terms of other features that you're going to have, we have vents up here in the top. We also have some LED lighting, and it's also worth mentioning that rear window sunshades are not available on any Escalade. Now, this is the Mac Daddy ESV, the longer one. So let's go ahead and get back into that third row, because you probably buy this because you're going to be using the third row all the time. So when we get back here, you use that lever right there. That folds the seat down. The second push will fold it up and out of the way. So that's a really easy way to get back here. And as you can see, my path to get into the third row is way, way easier than a lot of the competition. So that is something worth noting. Now, as far as the third row space itself, we're looking at 36.6 inches of legroom for the ESV, which does give you a little bit more space than the regular version of the Escalade. However, it's not dramatically different or anything. Most of the space will be in the cargo department, which I'll talk about in just a second. But as you can see, with the independent rear suspension that you get back here, we have absolutely great thigh support. It is absolutely phenomenal. This is probably one of the best third rows that money can buy, regardless of any price point. And then your feet can easily slide up underneath of the second row seat. And it's worth noting that this seat is slid all the way back, and you can still see I have 2 or 3 inches of legroom to spare. Now, Escalade, of course, is also going to throw in some features back here. So we have a little storage cubby, we have a cup holder, we're also going to have a USB Type-C port, and we're going to have vents up here at the top, as well as some LED lighting. All right, guys, let's get down to business. Now, of course, one of the biggest reasons you buy an ESV Escalade, or really an Escalade in general, is going to be this cargo area. Now, I do want to point out a few things before we open it up. One of those is going to be that the rear glass does open independently for this Escalade model, so you can open that up. That's a feature that is really becoming increasingly rare on any SUV. Now, another thing I want to point out is that a power hands-free tailgate is standard equipment on every single model, so you can use your foot to open it up, or you can just use the Cadillac emblem, which I think is a pretty bougie touch, so I'll show you that today. Now, let's talk about the space back here. This, of course, is the ESV, and we're going to have a ton of space. Really, any Escalade has a lot of space, but this one's going to have the most available on any of them. So we're looking at 41.5 cubic feet of space behind the third row seats. You heard me right. Over 40 cubic feet behind the third row. We're looking at 91.4 cubic feet if you fold it down, and then you're looking at 142.8 cubic feet as a maximum. Now, that is worth noting, that's around 30 cubic feet larger than the regular version of the Escalade. That one maxes out at 109 cubic feet of cargo capacity, but this is by far the largest thing in the entire segment. It's going to be larger than Grand Wagoneer as well as the Lincoln Navigator. You're just going to have so much freaking space back here. I love it. And that independent rear suspension is really the reason for that. Now, as far as the finishings that Cadillac has thrown back here, let's check out those. We do have a nice carpeting along the floor. If we lift up the floor, you will find additional space up underneath here. What we found this useful to be is an umbrella spot. It's not a ton of space though. And then over here on the right side, you will notice that we have a household style outlet to charge anything that you're going to need, maybe for tailgating. Then you're also going to notice this right here. We have a power folding third row, standard equipment on every single Escalade. And that's with all the seats down. Look how much space you can fit back here. You can literally fit an entire mattress. It's what, 17 feet? Now, your passenger seat will be 10-way power adjusting. It's the same adjustments as the driver. You're even going to have the 2-way lumbar support. It is worth noting no memory seats on the passenger side though. Over here on this area, you will notice we have a felt-lined storage cubby, and we're also going to have a power outlet inside of there. Now, opening up the glove box, I know this is applicable to every single Escalade buyer ever, the coupon test. And they do fit in there perfectly fine. And then we have a really nice felt lining inside. This is a very premium glove box. We also have that leather wrapping above that. And then if we open up the sun visor here, you're going to notice that we have fading in LED lighting as well as a mirror. And we can also detach the visor as well as extend it out.
Alright guys, so this specific unit we are in today is a sold unit. This does happen pretty often with these types of vehicles,
especially
that are in high
Escalades,
demand.
yeah.
So because of that and respect for the future owner that's going to pick this up shortly, we're not going to be driving this specific example, but we are still putting in the test drive from last year of the mechanically identical Escalade. Nothing has changed on that front, so you'll still see the driving dynamics coming up here in just a second. Before we head out onto the road, we just want to kind of go over some of the key specifications. So as you probably know, with this Escalade, you have the top tier V8 engine. So you got the 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8 engine, making 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque, so really nice numbers. You also have the option of a diesel engine for the first time. That's a no-cost option, so you're just be able to choose between the two, and that's going to be a 3-liter turbo inline 6-cylinder with 277 horsepower and 466 pound-feet of torque. As far as your transmission, it's going to be a 10-speed automatic transmission. And you do have standard 4x2 and optional 4x4 across the entire lineup.
Nice.
Very good, very good. So obviously, like we already said, this is a 6.2 liter V8 and has lots and lots of power.
And really, the best thing about this V8 engine is going to just be that burly V8 sound compared to what you're going to get in the Lincoln Navigator with that twin-turbo V6. This is really just going to give you a much more traditional and rewarding experience when driving, and I think that's really important to a lot of people who buy in this segment, so definitely a benefit there.
So we're really excited to be behind the wheel of this Escalade. This is our first time driving it since the review we did previously was the pre-production model, so we weren't allowed to drive it, but this is the full production version. Now, there's a customer waiting to purchase this vehicle probably when we come back, so this is going to be a little bit shorter of a drive.
Yeah.
But we will still have plenty of time here to get a good sense of just how nice this Escalade is behind the wheel. And it really doesn't take long behind the wheel at all to realize there's a lot of substantial changes from that previous generation model.
Yeah.
So this road here, for instance, is kind of bumpy, and I think that really puts into play that air suspension, which we have equipped on this Sport Platinum. That air suspension was not available at all on any of the previous versions of the Escalade, so this is a brand new feature, and boy is it nice.
Wow. Yeah, the ride quality on this, oh my goodness. I could take a nap right now, and I think you really are going to be very impressed if you're even coming from a previous Escalade as to the improvements here. Right now I'm getting a back massage that's also included on that Platinum model, so this is really just the utmost of luxury that you can really expect out of any SUV, and I really think that it's even as good as some of the German rivals like the BMW X7.
Auto start stop, really, really impressively smooth, especially for a big V8. Power just comes on so nice and smooth.
And once we get up to cruising speed here, I will go ahead and get a sound level reading to just kind of give you guys some reference. We'll be going a little bit slower, probably around 45 miles per hour. Wow. 52 decibels. That is one of the lowest readings we've ever gotten. I think the Mercedes S-Class was like about the only thing that's gotten lower than that, and I believe it. Once you get behind the wheel of this Escalade, you're once again going to see the improvements for this all-new model. They really have just gone as upscale as they possibly can with this Escalade. It truly is a luxury vehicle through and through.
and noticeably quieter than the Tahoe.
Oh yeah. And that today is going to be today's slam dunk, is just the overall improvements they've made to this interior, the overall luxury experience you're going to get here. It's a huge improvement over the previous generation, and it really stands out in this segment.
Now, I'm not going to imply that this feels small behind the wheel, because it definitely doesn't. This is still really, really large SUV, but I do want to say that it feels smaller behind the wheel than the outgoing generation. I think the things that Cadillac has done with the steering and the suspension, the kind of control that you feel behind the wheel, it definitely seems lighter on its feet and more maneuverable than before, so I do appreciate that.
Now, if you were paying attention, we didn't mention the air ball, and that is quite hard to pinpoint in something as good as this Escalade. This Escalade is really a fantastic, especially now that they redesigned it, but we're going to say it's the price. I will talk about the pricing, but I hate to burst your bubble, this is pretty expensive if you want one.
So the first Escalade we sampled was very impressive, but it remained a mystery. Would it be as impressive behind the wheel as it was in all the other respects? And I think today really cements the fact that the answer is yes. It absolutely is as impressive behind the wheel as the outside and especially this new interior is in person. Sampling this Sport Platinum, it really is an incredible overall package, and I think there's a good reason why these things are sold out for a long, long time.
And we did want to go ahead and cut to the pricing because, of course, the pricing has changed for this 2022 Escalade model. Now, as you would expect, pricing has increased just a little bit. It's very high demand.
$2,000 roughly between the different trim levels. That being said, what is $2,000 on something that costs this much? Not 2%. Too much. Not too much for most people. So luxury is going to be $77,900. The premium luxury we have today starts at $86,590. This is for the standard wheelbase, by the way. And then the Sport Platinum, that's going to be the top model, is going to start at $103,290.
Now, this particular tester that you've been watching the video on all day today is going to start at $90,895 for the four-wheel drive premium luxury. We also have a few option packages on top of that, plus the destination charge, which has risen to $1,695. Will bring this particular tester as equipped to $98,915. Well, guys, we really appreciate you making it this far in our in-depth review of the 2022 Cadillac Escalade ESV Premium Luxury. If you enjoyed watching, or just like me in general, like the information we cover, or are just into cars, please hit that subscribe button down below. There is a lot of automotive content on our channel that I promise you won't want to miss out on. So go ahead and do that. Also follow us on TikTok as well as Instagram. We have other forms of content that are shorter than this video on there as well. We'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.